Zhang Yi nodded, and after listening to Yang Sin-Sin's analysis, his thoughts gradually became clearer. He suddenly looked at Yang Sin-Sin and said, if that's the case, it means they know how to deal with this group of zombies, right? Previously, their team had witnessed the terrifying power of the zombie horde, with intelligent zombies like the Zombie King leading and combat strength equivalent to that of mutant individuals among armored zombies. Even they find it difficult to cope. Yang Sin-Sin tilted her head and smiled as she said, if the investigation team was mobilized from the Giant Man headquarters, then their strength is definitely not to be underestimated. The most important thing is the intelligence information. Yang Sin-Sin waved her delicate finger and spoke seriously to Zhang Yi. First, they have more sources of intelligence information than we do. In addition to that, the cooperation from all the information providers helps them understand zombies much better than we do. Therefore, they can quickly find ways to deal with the zombies. Zhang Yi agreed that Yang Sin-Sin's words were very reasonable. He suddenly remembered. The last mission failed mainly because we knew too little about the enemy. We have never encountered the Zombie King and can only rely on scattered information to make inferences. From that, an unclear fear of it has emerged. On the other hand, Zhang Yi cannot deny that Bayan Zhenwu's team is much stronger than his own. The combat strength of Bayan Zhenwu is unquestionable, and his subordinates can each be considered among the best in Tian High City. They are even not inferior to the leaders of the bases. Thinking of how Zhang Yi, Xiao Hong Lion, Wai Dinghai, and other high-level mutant persons form a team, their combat power is also astonishing. Zhang Yi leaned back on the sofa and calmly said, then let's go take a look. Yang Sin-Sin added, after all, gathering such a large fighting force does not have too much impact on us. The advantage of a small team lies in their flexibility. Whether attacking or retreating, it is relatively easy. Moreover, without the interference of ordinary people, Zhang Yi's group can maintain a relaxed attitude on any battlefield. All right, let's go take a trip and see what they intend to do. Zhang Yi made that decision. He then called everyone to the living room for a meeting. When everyone gathered, Zhang Yi shared the news he had received. Uncle Wang, who had a keen intuition for war, said at that moment, is there going to be a fight? The human alliance is facing the zombie army. Zhang Yi leaned back on the sofa, looking quite relaxed. If this is a coalition battle, then many other forces will endure the majority of the pressure. They don't need to worry too much. And when the fighting breaks out, having an elite team like their 7-person squad involved is also a reliable point. He added, but war is bound to happen sooner or later. If the zombie issue isn't resolved, our existence here is also unstable. I just didn't expect them to act so quickly. They already have a plan in just one day. One could say a professional team really makes a difference. After being emotional, Zhang Yi looked at everyone with a serious expression. But I still want to emphasize that the most important thing is to ensure your own safety. Life is the most important. Everything else must come after. Do you understand? Everyone nodded in unison. They had heard this many times, but Zhang Yi, each time before taking a major action, never forgot to remind them carefully. Zhou Kaine furrowed her brows with a hint of worry, her gaze dropping. Theoretically, she said, all of you have to go worship the Snow Sect and leave us at home, right? Zhang Yi nodded decisively. Those who cannot fight should not go there. If a battle truly occurs, we will face an unimaginable number of zombies. At that time, we will be able to protect you. He thought of the number of dead, over 10 million people in Tian High City. He still felt anxious inside. He didn't know how many corpses had ultimately turned into zombies. The alliance of the 5 great forces also meant they might face the entire zombie population in Tian High City. He needed to have no worries to concentrate on the fight. Zhou Kaini argued, but you also need doctors. If you get injured, I can help you treat them. Every time a battle occurred, Zhang Yi would keep her in the safe zone. She understood that Zhang Yi was protecting her. However, she was always worried, afraid something would happen to Zhang Yi. Zhang Yi looked up at Zhou Kaini with a serious expression. Do you really want to help me? In this world with extremely low temperatures, if you get injured on the battlefield and do not receive timely treatment, it may easily lead to death. Zhang Yi smiled. If you can't protect yourself on the battlefield, you will only distract me from protecting you. Don't be silly, my little girl. Doctors on the battlefield are indeed very important, but first and foremost, they cannot become a burden. Zhou Kaini countered. If it were before, I would understand that bringing me along would be a hassle for you. But now, if it's a major battle, we definitely need to have adequate logistical support. I believe that not only we, but other forces will also have their own logistics personnel accompanying them. Uncle Wang also spoke to Zhang Yi. I feel she is not wrong. This time, Tian High City is gathering the 5 strongest forces, almost all combat strength. Therefore, this battle definitely cannot end quickly. If the war drags on, logistics will become extremely important, especially medical staff. Zhou Kainai looked at Zhang Yi, her eyes filled with sincerity. Because of your caution, our team has never encountered casualties. But this situation cannot last forever. You also know that on the battlefield, death is a frequent occurrence and doctors are very important. Two people made Zhang Yi think. Although his strength was very great, he could not be sure that he would not be injured in such a large battle. With an extremely low temperature of minus 60 degrees, any injury could turn into necrotic tissue, at best, requiring amputation, and at worst, leading to death. Talking about it now is easier than doing it, but when you're actually hurt, there's no room left to cry. Moreover, even for the sake of future considerations, those beside you must adapt to all harsh circumstances, including on the battlefield. After a while of thinking, Zhang Yi nodded in agreement to take Zhao Kaini along. Then this time you will come with us. At that time, I will arrange for you to stay behind. You must obediently keep your distance and just come to treat us when we get injured. Zhao Kaini happily hugged Zhang Yi, her eyes shining with happiness. I understand. I will fulfill my responsibility as a doctor. Liu Keiran was also determined not to be outdone, standing up to pat her small chest. Brother Zhang, please take me with you too. My methods are getting better and better. Zhang Yi looked up at the girl and said casually, "Haha, those things don't seem very effective against zombies, do they?" Liu Keiran's face turned stiff. Zhang Yi did not give anyone a chance to object and confidently said, "Except for Kai Nei. No one is allowed to go along. Everyone must stay in the safe area." Liu Keiran had no choice but to sit down reluctantly. Yang Xin appeared calm because at this moment, there was not much they could do. Zhou Haimai and Yang Mai showed a hint of relief in their eyes. They did not have the courage of Zhou Kai Ni to follow Zhang Yi and his group into battle, as they had no fighting capabilities. Going along could easily result in death, so staying in the safe shelter was the best option. Liu Keiran stepped forward to help Zhang Yi check the snow-running vehicle, ensuring there were no hidden dangers. Then, she helped fill up the gas tank. Zhang Yi and his group checked their weapons and equipment. Once they were ready, they planned to set off. Zhang Yi specially gifted Zhou Kaini a small silver pistol. Guns are almost useless against zombies. A large caliber gun is unnecessary for me. This one is kept for self-defense. It is very easy to use against people. The immediate threat is zombies, but Zhang Yi does not see himself as friends with other major powers. They are still potential enemies, only temporarily cooperating for mutual benefit, but it is hard to avoid someone stabbing them in the back. Zhao Kainai has also practiced shooting. Although not very accurately, it is sufficient for self-defense. She takes the gun and then stuffs it into the double pocket of her combat uniform. The group driving the car on snow, after finishing securing the hideout, heads towards the headquarters of the Worship the Snow Sect in the Tianfeng area. On the side of the Worship the Snow Sect, knowing that the investigation team and people from other powers were arriving, they quickly prepared. Bian Junwu and his group are the first to arrive at this place. Shang Yixian and a group of priests come to greet them. Although it is called a greeting, in fact, there is nothing special about it. At such a time, they naturally do not have the spare time to prepare thoroughly. Shang Yixian steps in front of Bian Junwu and his group to greet them. Welcome to Worship the Snow Sect. I wonder what the sudden request for the major powers to gather here is for. If we could have been notified in advance, we could have prepared better. Wu Di chuckled lightly, crossing his arms, and replied, "You are all in this state here. How can you prepare anything well? We are here to help you solve the problem. You just need to obediently follow our commands." Hearing Wu Di's words, several people standing behind Zhang Yixian showed anger on their faces. Wu Di frowned, his tone challenging. "What's the matter? You seem to be quite dissatisfied. Want to test your strength? I'm ready. You can all fight me at once." Han Shang couldn't hold back and shouted, "You don't need to be so arrogant. Even if people from the Jiangnan area are very strong, we are not fragile clay." Zhang Yixian quickly shouted for Han Shang to be quiet, then bowed his head and apologized to Wu Di. "Please do not blame us. Recently, the Worship the Snow Sect suffered heavy losses, and the congregation is inevitably a bit extreme in their emotions." Wu Di was about to say more, but Bian Junwu gently tilted his head to signal him to remain silent. Bian Junwu said to Zhang Yixian, "We will discuss the plan once everyone has gathered. I do not want to explain to you separately at this time." Zhang Yixian smiled and asked, "Would you like to rest a bit inside the house?" After finishing his words, he personally led the investigation team and everyone into the church's resting area. Bian Junwu walked straight ahead with some other people closely following him. While walking, Bian Junwu asked, "How many people have died in the worship of the Snow Sect over the past few days?" Zhang Yixian pondered for a moment and replied in a low voice, "After several days of continuous fighting, thousands of congregants have died at the hands of zombies. There are also some who were infected and unable to receive timely treatment. We had to terminate them humanely to prevent their transformation. B and Junwoo frowned. Specifically, how many people have died? I am very concerned about this number. Only by knowing the death toll of the worship of the Snow Sect can I fully understand the impact of zombies on you. Zhang Yixian was slightly taken aback and hesitated to say, I'm truly sorry. We haven't specifically counted the number of deaths within the sect. It is estimated to be around 3,000 to 4,000 people. 3,000 to 4,000 people? Upon hearing this figure, B and Junwoo looked around in surprise. The defensive structures are very simple compared to the large bases. In the freezing winter, worship the Snow Sect has many people, but they do not have enough strength to build solid defensive structures. They can only rely on the existing environment to fight against zombies. After a long period of fighting, only 3,000 to 4,000 people have died, which astonished B and Junwoo. He asked a question that made Zhang Yixian feel cautious. Then how did you solve the food issue? During the apocalypse, it requires a large amount of food to feed thousands of people. I am curious about how you managed to do that. The food supply issue is a major concern for any faction. If Bai and Junwoo were not from the large area of Jiangnan, bringing up this issue would definitely be seen as making excuses. Zhang Yixian hesitated for a moment and finally replied, We search for supermarkets and shopping malls hidden in the surrounding area, harvesting food or survival supplies from within. B and Junwoo looked at Zhang Yixian through his sunglasses. His gaze was hard to interpret, but everyone could sense that he did not trust this explanation. Is it really that simple? In this harsh environment, searching for food also consumes a large amount of energy. How does worship the Snow Sect excavate food from deep within snow piles up to 10 meters thick and sustain supplies for thousands of people, even at times exceeding 10,000? Zhang Yixian and the group of priests and vicars had unusual expressions on their faces. Everyone realized that regarding food, they were hiding a very big secret. The atmosphere at the scene became tense. Bai Lai Chang King and some members of the investigative team looked towards Zhang Yixian and his group, a vague suspicion rising in their hearts, and this suspicion was not uncommon in the apocalypse. Wu Di spoke sarcastically. With half the congregation dead, surely the rest could be fed, right? As soon as the words were spoken, the members of the Snow Sect erupted in anger. Han Chang shouted angrily, You're not allowed to speak nonsense. We would never do such things. Dame frowned in protest. Don't acquaint us with those animals. Woody shrugged, his eyes filled with mockery. Then you surely can't survive just by drinking the northwest wind, can you? As both sides were about to cause a commotion, Zhang Yixian and B and Junwoo simultaneously spoke up to stop their group. Enough, you don't need to argue first. Zhang Yixian took a deep breath and leaned towards Bai and Junwoo. There is indeed a bit of a secret, but this matter concerns the survival of Worship the Snow Sect. Therefore, we will not mention it to outsiders. B and Junwoo's voice remained cold as ever, but he seemed to be questioning. Is that so? We can't even know. At this moment, any undisclosed secrets could relate to zombies. Zhang Yixian looked up at B and Junwoo and said, If you really wanted to know, I can explain it to you. B and Junwoo replied, All right. Zhang Yixian straightened up and invited, Please follow me. Behind him, Han Chang and Dao Mei looked somewhat angry. High Priest, can we discuss this with outsiders? They asked anxiously. Zhang Yixian reassured them, It's fine. The investigation team from the Jiangnan headquarters is here, and we do not wish to hide anything. The group of priests was very worried and did not want to reveal the secret of worship the Snow Sect because they knew that if this secret were to be known by other forces in Tianhai City, it would be like exposing their greatest weakness. Furthermore, the people from the Jiangnan headquarters could also pose a threat to their treasure, which is the foundation of worship the Snow Sect that has existed since ancient times. As the high priest Zhang Yixian held a position close to cult leader Yuan Kongyi, his decisions could not be opposed. Zhang Yixian led B and Junwoo and his group towards the abandoned skyscraper next to the church. As they reached the front of the skyscraper, Bai and Junwoo suddenly stopped, frowning because the building before him gave him a very bad feeling. The gray concrete and steel architecture pierced straight into the snowy ground, resembling a large tomb. Bai and Junwoo had a gut feeling that he should stay away from this place. Bai Lai Chang King also approached and whispered, Captain, there's a strong smell of fresh blood. Bai and Junwoo looked up, remaining silent, then continued to follow Zhang Yixian inside. One thing he did not tell his teammates was that since becoming blind, his other senses had become sharper. Just now, he had seen something horrifying outside the skyscraper. A huge, fierce, and terrifying monster over 100 meters tall with countless limbs moving frantically. Beneath the ground were complex, tangled roots piercing deep into the snow. At this moment, Zhang Yixian turned around to look at everyone, smiling eerily. Everyone, this is the secret of worship the Snow Sect. "Do you want to see a bit more?" Wu Di crossed his arms and sneered. "Fake. Gods and ghosts." A group of people entered deeper into the high-rise building. The smell of blood became increasingly pungent. However, this smell was somewhat unusual. It did not resemble the odor from dead corpses, but rather the scent of fresh blood that had just flowed. The fresh blood smell was strong, yet it was not unpleasant, even having a hint of allure and sweetness. As they gradually advanced, they finally saw the monster. The entire deep high-rise building was occupied by a bizarre type of plant. Vines and branches crawled everywhere, emitting a dim green light. On the branches, bright red fruits could be seen, looking extremely eye-catching. Bien Jun-woo and his group saw this scene and seemed to understand something. "Is this the food source upon which you rely for survival?" Zhang Yixian smiled, took a red fruit from the branch, and handed it to Bien Jun-woo. "This is a mutated plant we discovered called bloodvine. It has an extremely strong vitality capable of absorbing all surrounding nutrients and converting them into its own life force. This red fruit is the main food supply for us." Bien Jun-woo took the red fruit, not eating it, but carefully observing it. Zhang Yixian smiled. "Don't worry, this fruit is not poisonous. We have been eating it for several months now, and so far, no one has shown any signs of abnormalities." Bien Jun-woo pondered for a moment, his mind filled with thoughts, and then calmly said, "But is it enough to feed thousands of your people?" Zhang Yixian continued to lead the way, explaining, "This fruit is usually not enough, but we have a catalytic method to accelerate its growth." Saying this, he pointed to the ceiling ahead. Bien Jun-woo and his team looked up. They were surprised to see a spherical object hanging from the ceiling, surrounded by lush green branches emitting a faint blue light. On closer inspection, its shape was faintly reminiscent of a human form. Meng Sai-yu couldn't contain herself, her eyes wide. "Are you using people as nutrients for it to bear fruit?" Zhang Yixian, with an expression unchanged, replied, "To be more precise, it is the bodies of humans." The investigation team continued to follow Zhang Yixian deeper into the bloodvine area. They witnessed an astonishing sight. In the castle at the center, the vast space was dominated by bloodvine, extending from the bottom to the highest level. The bloodvine trunk was huge and sturdy like a monster, even pulsating as if it were breathing. On the walls and floor, there were numerous human-shaped objects hanging, and just from a glance, there seemed to be thousands. Zhang Yixian placed her right hand on her chest, closed her eyes, and prayed. "May those who paved the way become the hope of survival. That fruit will become our sustenance." At this moment, everyone understood clearly where the food of the worship, the Snow Sect, came from. They had used the bodies of the dead as nutrients for the bloodvine, allowing it to absorb and bear fruit, thus providing food for the congregation. Wu Di crossed his arms and frowned, saying, "What is the difference from cannibalism?" Meng Sai-yu retorted, "There is still a difference. At least it avoids the infection of the virus, and from a psychological standpoint, it is easier to accept." Although everyone was astonished by this gigantic mutated plant, they did not feel it was too strange. After all, in this apocalyptic world, they had witnessed stranger things. The handling of the corpses in this way could be considered reasonable. Zhang Yixian turned to them, saying seriously, "You all, this is the greatest secret of our worship, the Snow Sect. It concerns the survival of thousands of congregants. Therefore, I ask you, you must help us protect this secret." Zhang Yixian was not worried that the people from the Jiangnan headquarters would be tempted by the bloodvine. After all, it was something that absorbed nutrients from human corpses to bear fruit. Moreover, such a large bloodvine would be very difficult to transport elsewhere. Bien Jun-woo nodded and said, "Don't worry, we will help you keep this secret." After that, he held a red fruit in his hand, threw it to Wu Di, who was standing next to him, and then turned to leave. Wu Di glanced at the fruit in his hand, his face clearly showing disgust, and then threw it to Kong Sheng. "Here, take this cursed thing." Kong Sheng threw it to Kid Guangming. "I don't want it either. Whoever likes it can take it." The group kept tossing it back and forth, completely treating it like a game. After all, they wouldn't want to eat such food even if they were beaten to death. A strange smile appeared on Zhang Yixian's face, and then he left with the others. When he turned around, he saw bloodvines surrounded by thousands of corpses. Whether due to the wind or some other reason, these bodies began to shake slightly. After leaving the abandoned skyscraper, Bien Jun-woo noticed that people from other factions had not yet arrived, so he suggested, "I want to be the cult leader who worships the Snow Sect, Yuan Kong Yi. I've heard that even some leaders in the headquarters are interested in her abilities." Zhang Yixian was startled and said, "The cult leader usually does not handle matters within the church. All external affairs are managed by me." Bien Jun-woo responded, "If I'm already here, I want to meet her once." Zhang Yixian's small eyes narrowed upon hearing this. He understood that the interest shown by the big figures in the Jiangnan headquarters towards Yuan Kong Yi's abilities was a very important signal. Indeed, Yuan Kong Yi's abilities were quite abnormal. she could help others awaken superpowers. With her assistance, it would be like having a large and ever-expanding army of nude persons. For Worship the Snow Sect, this was a wonderful opportunity. If they could gain support from powerful forces, the sect's growth would certainly be increasingly formidable. Zhang Yi then said to Bian Junwu, "Please wait a moment, I will go inform the cult leader." Bian Junwu nodded. Zhang Yi immediately headed towards the church. After he left, everyone watched his retreating figure with different expressions. Perhaps it was because Bloodvine brought a strong disturbance. Wu frowned and said, "I always feel that Worship the Snow Sect has a kind of evil aura." Kong Sheng calmly replied, "This is not surprising. After all, organizations that exist in the form of religion are somewhat bizarre." Meng Sai Yu spoke up. "However, the Worship of the Snow Sect has managed to survive until now, and has helped many congregations survive, which is a very powerful ability." Bai Lai Chang King approached Bian Junwu. "Captain, is it true that the higher-ups are really interested in Yuan Kong Yi?" Bian Junwu frowned and replied, "Currently, someone at a higher level has raised a question, wanting us to assess her abilities. If it is truly, as the intelligence said, that she can help others awaken their superpowers without any cost, then the leaders would definitely want to acquire her." Bai Lai Chang King added, "That is indeed a power that everyone desires." Hearing this, Bian Junwu smirked with a hint of irony. How could things be that simple? Bai Lai Chang King raised an eyebrow in curiosity. "What do you mean?" Bian Junwu replied, "Those who wish to acquire a certain power must pay a corresponding price. Our awakening of superpowers also comes after experiencing near-death situations. It is no different from trading one's life for strength. As for her abilities, it is said that she can help others awaken superpowers without requiring a high price. Is it really something so easy in this world?" Bai Lai Chang King also became more serious. "I am quite skeptical about this as well." Bian Junwu adjusted his glasses and continued. "The leaders above have considered this very carefully. The military has studied mutant persons for a long time, and they all feel that Yuan Kong Yi's abilities are extraordinarily remarkable. Therefore, at this time, we must take the opportunity to see if her powers are truly as miraculous as the rumors say." Bai Lai Chang King asked, "If it turns out to be true, what should we do?" Bian Junwu put his hands in his pockets and said with a meaningful tone, "If that really is the case, then her abilities from a strategic perspective are certainly no less than the legend level." As soon as he finished speaking, everyone present was horrified. The title of legend is even more burdensome than a high mountain for mutant persons. Throughout Huaxia, currently, there is only one person who has reached the legend level, and that is the mysterious figure at the Shengjing headquarters. This person's abilities have become unimaginably powerful. It is said that anyone targeted by him, no matter how far they run, cannot escape death. The entire Jiangnan headquarters has never had a mutant person at the legend level. Bian Junwu also hopes to develop to this level, but due to a lack of certain qualities, he cannot reach this rank. Therefore, the title of legend has become a monument in the hearts of every mutant person at the Jiangnan headquarters. Bian Junwu noticed the expressions of everyone and smiled faintly. "I am only suggesting this possibility. However, as for Yuan Kong Yi, we still do not fully understand her abilities, so we cannot make an accurate judgment." Bai Lai Chang King nodded. "That is why you want to meet her yourself to explain the situation, right?" "That's correct." Not long after, Zhang Yi came out of the chapel and invited Bian Junwu to meet Yuan Kong Yi. Bai Lai Chang King saw the figure of Yuan Kong Yi and thought to himself, "That must be Yuan Kong Yi. Could it be that she truly is a strategic level existence as speculated?" Bian Junwu entered the chapel by himself. He met a young girl around 20 years old wearing a red holy robe. The two talked to each other in the chapel for a long time. When Bian Junwu left the chapel, his face remained icy cold, and no one could guess his mood. Bai Lai Chang King and the others couldn't help but ask, "So, is Yuan Kong Yi really a legend or not?" Bian Junwu replied coldly, "Judging a mutant person solely based on my eyes cannot lead to an accurate conclusion." However, he paused for a moment and adjusted his phrasing. "This girl definitely has issues." Everyone was very surprised. Meng Sai Yu asked with curiosity, "What kind of issues?" Bian Junwu pointed to his temple. "This one." Everyone was stunned. Is it a mental issue? A large sect like Worship the Snow Sect and its cult leader has a mental problem. That seems plausible. Bai Lai Chang King laughed loudly. After all, being a cult leader can either be about being a swindler who seizes wealth or being a blind, crazed fanatic. Bian Junwu completely agreed. "You are not wrong. When talking to Yuan Kong Yi, I could feel her enthusiasm for the cult. She truly believes that there is a divine existence in this world." This surprised Bian Junwu. Perhaps that is why the other tasks of the cult had to be handed over to Zhang Yi to manage. After all, a follower who is too pure in their belief in the divine may approach their work in an overly idealistic or fanatical way, making it very difficult to maintain the stability of a large cult. Bian Junwoo calmly stated, "In short, we will gradually assess her abilities. Once we resolve the issue regarding the zombies, we will still have plenty of time to study this matter. For now, there are more important issues we need to negotiate." Not long after, representatives from other factions began to arrive one by one. According to Bian Junwoo's division of labor, each person brought their own strongest forces, including battle vehicles, the strongest firepower, and fully equipped military gear, preparing most of the members for battle. Everyone gathered at the Worship the Snow Sect area, creating a magnificent scene. When all the bases had arrived, the Worship the Snow Sect felt immense pressure. Zhang Yi and his group had also reached the location. Zhang Yi stepped out of the car and gently took Zhao Kai's hand. "Follow me and don't go anywhere. I will arrange a safe place for you to wait." Faced with Zhang Yi's caring concern, Zhao Kai now happily nodded. "I will listen to you." A group of people continued towards the building of the Snow Sect, an architecture that clearly has a strong religious nature. It is indeed a church. On the way, Zhang Yi unexpectedly ran into his old classmate Xing Tian. Xing Tian greeted him, "Zhang Yi." Zhang Yi asked, "Why did you arrive later than us? Considering the distance, King Fu Based is clearly closer than ours." Xing Tian replied with a smile, "There were a lot of things to take care of in the workshop. We are not like you, who can spend freely. Fewer people are indeed more convenient." Zhang Yi frowned. The two only exchanged a few simple sentences with not much interaction. At this moment, everyone was confused about why Bian Junwoo had summoned them here. In terms of personal relationships, they were not very close, so there was not much to say. Upon arriving at the Snow Sect, someone immediately came out to greet them and show them the way. Zhang Yi, Zhao Kai, and Xing Tian entered the church together. This cathedral was once one of the most famous tourist attractions in the city of Tianhai. Zhang Yi had visited here before, but he did not believe in the teachings, merely admiring the classical European architecture. As they stepped inside, Zhang Yi noticed that everyone else had already arrived. Bian Junwoo, Cheng Yixian, Xiao Hong Lan, and Wei Dinghe had all found seats. However, there was one face in the congregation that Zhang Yi had never seen before, a woman in a red religious robe looking solemn and devout. Yet, her face was very youthful, creating a stark contrast. Zhang Yi immediately guessed the identity of this girl. The only person who could appear here at this time could only be the cult leader worshipping the Snow Sect, Yuan Kongyi. Xing Tian also saw Yuan Kongyi for the first time and couldn't help but say to Zhang Yi, "She is so young. She looks like she hasn't matured yet." Zhang Yi glanced at Xing Tian. "You should pay attention to your expression and control your instincts." Xing Tian was taken aback. "What are you talking about? You know, I've only liked older women since I was a child." Zhang Yi replied nonchalantly, "I've heard that while working in the factory, you fell in love with a woman 12 years older than you, the owner of a massage shop. You two loved each other for 8 years. You can't escape from my ears about this rumor." Xing Tian's face turned crimson, as if he had been thrown into a fire. "What do you know? Back then I was young, and she was still in her prime. We willingly loved each other." Zhang Yi only chuckled softly. "I'm not saying you're wrong. After all, lacking a mother's love isn't your fault." Xing Tian was so angry that he wanted to rush at Zhang Yi. Damn it. But when he remembered his current identity, he could only suppress his anger. "Zhang Yi, you don't know what love is. You are indeed a cold and emotionless person." Hearing this, a flash of memory flickered in Zhang Yi's eyes, and then he sneered. "Love? Ha ha, love is the most ruthless thing in this world." As the two approached other people, everyone looked at them indifferently. Neither of them continued to argue, each finding a place to sit down. Bian Junwoo did not welcome them, but immediately spoke about the event from the night before. "Last night, we eliminated a zombie king. The truth is shown that after the zombie king was killed, the entire horde of zombies lost control, and the rats following the zombie horde also became headless flies." Xiao Hong Lion listened to these words and thought to herself, "Indeed, it is like that." She knew that the zombie king eliminated last night was definitely active near their Yangsheng base. Bian Junwoo continued, "Therefore, to solve the zombie problem in Tianhai City, we need to eliminate all the zombie kings, the ones controlling the zombie hordes." Upon hearing this, everyone appeared shocked. Zhang Yi thought to himself, "Sure enough, they have found a way to deal with the zombie horde." Although he had anticipated this, the high efficiency of the other party still astonished Zhang Yi. After all, his group had infiltrated underground, planning to kill the zombie king, but ultimately failed. Xing Tian curiously asked, "What exactly is a zombie king? Could you explain a bit more?" Bian Junwoo knew that to eliminate the zombie horde, they needed their support, so he would not hide important information. He picked up a black bag from the ground containing the corpse of something and placed it on the ground right in front of the chapel. He personally unzipped the bag, revealing a humanoid creature covered in white fur in front of everyone. Bai and Junwoo pointed at it and said, "This is it." Everyone stood up and moved closer to observe. When they saw the mysterious shape of the Zombie King, they all felt a little disappointed. This was just an ordinary monkey with white fur. They had thought that the Zombie King would be a type of creature even more mysterious and terrifying. But now it looked like a large furry zombie, nothing too special. Zhang Yi asked, "Is this creature powerful?" B and Junwoo replied, "The Zombie King can control a horde of zombies. Its intelligence is comparable to that of a human. However, its combat ability is very weak." Zhang Yi nodded, feeling relieved in his heart. As long as it doesn't have any particularly strong combat ability, eliminating it will be much easier. He had once thought that the strength of the Zombie King would surpass that of armored zombies, and if so, resolving the situation would become extremely difficult. Bai and Junwoo began to explain how they killed the Zombie King. The zombie hordes appear and attack humans every day. However, the Zombie King itself is very weak. It does not leave its shelter, but hides deep within the subway tunnels. Therefore, someone needs to be outside to attract the zombie hordes, while a skilled group infiltrates the tunnel to kill the Zombie King. Once the Zombie King is eliminated, the zombie hordes will become harmless, as even if their numbers are greater, they will no longer pose a significant threat. Hearing this, Zhang Yi suddenly said, "What you mean is that we must use the entire worship the Snow Sect congregation as bait to lure the zombie hordes to attack while you slip underground to destroy the Zombie King?" A fierce look emerged in Zhang Yixian's eyes. Yuan Kongyi also looked at Bling and Junwoo with eyes that sparkled with an unclear meaning. Wai Dinghe laughed heartily and said, "You two shouldn't be too excited. Looking at the whole Tianhai city, your worship, the Snow Sect, has the largest number of people. Choosing this place as the battlefield makes sense." B and Junwoo faced Zhang Yixian and calmly replied, showing no change in expression. "All of this may sound like an instruction. We have actually considered it carefully. Moreover, you are not like the other four groups, which possess perfect defensive equipment. However, you also do not need to worry too much. Now, every armed force is gathered here, which can ensure your safety to the greatest extent." Zhang Yixian gritted his teeth, saying each word clearly. "But if all of us gather here, won't that attract all the zombies in Tianhai City?" B and Junwoo coldly replied, "If everything is as you say, that would be the best possible outcome. We hope to solve the zombie problem in Tianhai City once and for all." Zhang Yixian unexpectedly raised his voice in anger. "What about the lives of the congregation worshipping the Snow Sect? What are you doing with their lives?" Xiao Hong Lion smiled, her face showing a hint of amusement. "Zhang Yixian, you shouldn't think so one-dimensionally. You should be a bit more rational. Why don't you reflect on it yourself? If the Jiangnan headquarters didn't take this approach to deal with the horde of zombies, your worship of the Snow Sect would soon be wiped off the map, right? After all, even if we reach the end of the apocalypse, we still have a final option, which is to seal ourselves in the shelter. With military-grade equipment, zombies won't be able to break in. But what about you? With so many people and relying on such crude defensive measures, how long do you really think you can survive?" Xiao Hong Lian's words carried a hint of mockery, but her expression was very serious. Everyone sitting there understood that what she said was the brutal truth of Tianhai City. If any force were to be the first to be wiped out by zombies, it would definitely be the worship of the Snow Sect. Zhang Yixian turned pale but remained stubborn. "But that's not a reason to make us bait." B and Junwoo finally spoke up, his voice strong. "Why can't the members of worship the Snow Sect be the bait? If you have a better plan, then say it." As soon as these words were spoken, Zhang Yixian and Yuan Kongyi were both stunned. How could such a question be asked so directly? B and Junwoo looked straight at them, speaking in a cold tone. "We have traveled thousands of miles from Jinling to be here, confronting the threat of zombies alongside you. Now all our forces are here and all other armed factions have gathered as well. If you say that your congregation is bait, then why can't we be bait? In this dangerous situation, do you really think I would let you face them on your own?" B and Junwoo's sharp words left Zhang Yixian speechless, unable to retort. B and Junwoo and worship the Snow Sect had no grievances against each other. They did not come this far to speak ill of one another. They came to help the local factions of Tianhai deal with the zombie threat. Zhang Yixian gritted his teeth. Although he understood B and Junwoo's decision, he still felt a bit unwilling. At this moment, Zhang Yi slowly spoke. "You must understand that we, the ones who will fight, are the ones on the front lines. If anyone is to die, it will be us." Zhang Yi pointed at the leaders of the factions and continued to speak. "We have many factions like this. All armed forces have gathered to protect your congregation. Is there anything else you are dissatisfied with?" Of course, Zhang Yi's words were merely polite conversation. If something unexpected truly happened, the others might not have the heart to run away. Due to the heavy sacrifice of the soldiers, Zhang Yi and those in his group, who were fewer in number, would probably not have to bear his burden. Zhang Yixian appeared to be somewhat hesitant. He seemed to understand the situation well, knowing that they had no right to refuse. Bian Junwu had explained everything to him, and that was already a significant concession, giving him some face. Finally, Zhang Yixian, with no other choice, sighed, "All right, I understand, but Mr. Bian, you must come up with a clear battle plan so we can trust you." Seeing Zhang Yixian agree, Bian Junwu confidently adjusted his sunglasses. "Rest assured, I am playing the battle in advance. This time, our opponents are less intelligent creatures, so developing a plan has become quite simple." With a deep understanding of the structure and behavior of zombies, Bian Junwu perfected the combat strategy. He was now proving his thorough preparation to everyone. First, we will all gather at the worship area of the Snow Sect. Then we will attract all the zombies in the city of Tanhai to converge here. Due to the distance and vast space, the zombies' concentration speed will be slow and uneven. This makes it easier for the forces of the 5 great powers to protect the area around Worship the Snow Sect. At the same time, our team, consisting of 7 members, will form the forefront and enter the ground to eliminate the Zombie King. This plan has been successfully executed once before, so it is certainly feasible. Bian Junwu continued to explain, "Our basic strategy is similar to encirclement and rearguard action, but now it resembles a hunting siege." After speaking, Bian Junwu rarely smirked. Everyone felt a somewhat chilly atmosphere. Zhang Yi thought to himself, "Good, so that means we will act as bait to attract the zombies, right?" Xing Tian immediately spoke up, "That's right. That's exactly it. This is a huge trap waiting for the zombies to jump in." Bian Junwu appeared cold yet confident. After all, they are just low-intelligence creatures that follow the group. As long as we find the right method, it's not too hard to deal with them. Hearing Bian Junwu's calm words, everyone felt immense pressure. Zhang Yi worried. "It sounds simple, but if we attract all the zombies in Tianhai City, the number could reach tens of thousands, even hundreds of thousands. With our current personnel and defense system, can we withstand such an enormous pressure?" Although Zhang Yi was not afraid of the zombies, he also knew that the saying "a multitude of ants can kill an elephant" was very true. Fighting on the streets with towering structures like those of Worship the Snow Sect was not his forte. Bian Junwu calmly responded, "At that time, we need you to fight to the end. After all, this is your homeland, so fight bravely." Zhang Yi shrugged, not wanting to argue further with Bian Junwu. After all, the city of Tianhai was their territory, and addressing the zombie threat would bring the greatest benefits to the 5 major powers. Zhang Yixian looked at everyone with a doubtful gaze and coldly said, "I fear that someone will intentionally hesitate, causing heavy losses for Worship the Snow Sect. What should we do now?" Xiao Hong Lion disdainfully looked at Zhang Yixian and mocked, "You don't need to be overly suspicious. When facing a massive army of zombies, who would dare to hesitate? Isn't that suicide?" Zhang Yixian thought for a moment and realized that Xiao Hong Lion was right. Even if they wanted to run away, they did not have the strength to do so. Bian Junwu turned to look at everyone and asked, "So, do you have any more suggestions?" Zhang Yi and his group did not have strong opinions. After all, they were not fighting on their own territory. At this moment, Yuan Kong Yi, who had been silent until now, slowly spoke up. "While attracting zombies, I hope everyone can protect those who cannot fight, especially children. The followers of the Worship the Snow Sect are not afraid of sacrifice. When necessary, they are willing to give their lives for their faith. However, there are many women and children in the sect who cannot defend themselves. We cannot allow them to be slaughtered by zombies." When mentioning the children, Bian Junwu's expression showed an unusual change, but it quickly disappeared. "No problem. Where is the safest place here? Please point out a spot where we can shelter the children who cannot fight." Bian Junwu continued, "Children under 14 years old can be protected. As for the others, they need to support the military in fighting against the zombie attack. Only children are allowed to hide in a safe place. The others are not permitted. The rest will have to attract the attention of the zombies." Zhang Yi thought about Zhou Kai Ni and immediately made a plan. He would place Zhou Kai Ni with his group. He did not need to say this immediately, as it was still his responsibility as a leader of a powerful sect to arrange those with authority. Yuan Kong Yi continued, "Then let us use this synagogue as a place of refuge." She clasped her hands together in front of her chest, gazing reverently toward the altar. "The deities will protect their faithful." The synagogue is located in the center of the entire sect area and is also the safest place. If the enemy can infiltrate here, it truly indicates that the situation has become extremely dangerous. Moreover, there is a basement in the synagogue, which can be used to shelter people during crucial moments. People do not understand this place as well as the followers of worship the Snow Sect, but when Yuan Kong-yi chose this location, everyone naturally had no objections. B and Jun-woo distributed a high-end communication device to each person, which can directly connect to the artificial intelligence satellite system. Even in the harshest circumstances, this device can maintain effective communication on the battlefield. The information is extremely important, and this device ensures that the 5 powerhouses can communicate promptly and coordinate with each other. B and Jun-woo reminded everyone, this battle could last a long time. It won't end in just 1 or 2 days. You all need to be prepared for a longer fight. For Zhang Yi, this wasn't too critical. Although living conditions here are not as good as their previous hideout, they can rest in the vehicle. Zhang Yi has enough food, and there is a heating system in the vehicle, so it is not too difficult in reality. He just needs to find an opportunity to get Kai Ni into worship the Snow Sect so that she can be within a safe range. At the end of the meeting, Zhang Yi, with a cheerful expression, approached Yuan Kong-yi. Cult leader, I have a small favor to ask of you. Yuan Kong-yi looked up at Zhang Yi, her eyes clear and deep like a sparkling night sky, emanating an irresistible charm. Before Yuan Kong-yi could speak, Zhang Yixian quickly stepped between them. He looked at Zhang Yi calmly, a slight smile appearing on his lips. Mr. Zhang, may I ask, what brings you to seek the cult leader? Please share. I am willing to help. Zhang Yi frowned, wondering if Zhang Yixian's protection of Yuan Kong-yi was excessive. Perhaps there was a mysterious relationship between these two. He suspected they might be husband and wife. Zhang Yi felt irritated but did not care about their personal matters. Zhang Yixian spoke coldly. Our cult leader devotes herself to serving the divine and does not wish to be distracted by trivial matters. Finally, Zhang Yi said, well then, among the people I brought, there is a doctor with excellent medical skills. Zhang Yi paused for a moment, then spoke seriously to Zhang Yixian. She is my girlfriend, but she does not have superpowers, nor does she possess combat skills. Therefore, I hope she can stay with your cult leader. What do you think? Zhang Yixian furrowed his brows, displeased to hear Zhang Yi refer to her as cult leader lady. Mr. Zhang, please pay attention to how you address our cult leader. Zhang Yi smiled cheerfully, his words laced with implication. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought that someone who serves the divine like you wouldn't care about annoying worldly rituals. Zhang Yixian did not want to conflict with Zhang Yi. Among the major forces in Tianhai City, what he feared most was not the large armed groups, but Zhang Yi, who was mysterious and unpredictable. After all, Zhang Yi had once wiped out the Xi Shan base and repelled the alliance of other houses. To this day, Zhang Yixian still could not ascertain Zhang Yi's true intentions. At this moment, Yuan Kong-yi stepped forward and spoke slowly. Of course it could be done. In such circumstances, Mr. Zhang allowing his girlfriend to participate in the battlefield shows that he takes this mission very seriously, even to the point of not fearing for her safety. Moreover, a doctor is an important member of the logistics team. We will have her come to the chapel and stay with us. Zhang Yi looked at Yuan Kong-yi and smiled, saying, Look, the cult leader truly understands reason. Good, let's make that decision. If she's here, I'll also devote all my efforts to protect the church's safety. This is in everyone's interest. After saying this, Zhang Yi turned and left the church. Yuan Kong-yi and Zhang Yixian watched Zhang Yi's back, their gazes filled with as many thoughts as they were confused, especially Zhang Yixian. His gaze towards Zhang Yi was filled with hesitance, saying, He is indeed the greatest destabilizing factor in Tianhai City. I hope he doesn't become our enemy. It is not difficult to understand why Zhang Yixian was particularly focused on Zhang Yi. His career had developed too unexpectedly, and each of his actions caused extreme astonishment. Starting as an unknown character, just an ordinary warehouse manager, Zhang Yi had quickly become a notable figure in Tianhai City. As Zhang Yi left the church, he planned to return and report the meeting's results to Zhou Kaini and the others. Just then, he caught sight of a familiar figure. The strange person made Zhang Yi instinctively look back, and that person also turned to look at him. Their eyes met for a moment, and Zhang Yi immediately frowned, showing a look of surprise. Could it be Lai Jian? Why was he here, still dressed in a priest's robe of the Snow Sect? He saw the middle-aged man, thin as a twig, with a tired expression, walking past the church. That man was his old neighbor, who used to be the chief financial inspector of one mart in the city of Tianhai, Lai Jian. After such a long time, Zhang Yi thought they might have been wiped out by zombies at the Yulu apartment complex. But unexpectedly, Lai Jian appeared at Worship the Snow Sect. When he saw Zhang Yi, the deep gaze of Lai Jian briefly showed surprise. However, he quickly turned his face away as if he did not recognize Zhang Yi. Zhang Yi immediately understood that the relationship among the 5 major powers in Tianhai was very complicated and filled with conflict. Now that Lai Jian had joined Worship the Snow Sect and become one of the vicars, if he acted too friendly towards Zhang Yi, it would easily raise suspicions among the others in the sect. Zhang Yi did not pay too much attention, as his relationship with Lai Jian was not very close. He did not want to cause trouble or misunderstanding, so he did not approach to greet him. Zhang Yi continued on to the place they had previously agreed upon, at the spot where vehicles drove on the snow. Everyone observed the current life of the followers worshipping the Snow Sect and couldn't help but be astonished. Humans can always feel happiness through comparison. Looking at the current state of worship the Snow Sect, it resembled an extremely impoverished slum, with most people being emaciated, barely able to eat enough. Zhang Yi approached the group and presented the content of the meeting once again. After listening, everyone did not react with overwhelming surprise. After all, they had anticipated such an outcome. Zhang Yi turned to Zhao Kai Ni and said, "As for Kai Ni, first you should sleep in the vehicle with Liang Yu. After the battle begins, I will take you into the church. The cult leader of worship, the Snow Sect, is there. They will definitely protect that place at all costs. If we need treatment, we will come find you." Zhao Kai Ni nodded. "Okay, no problem." This was her first time participating in a large-scale war. Inside, she felt both nervous and excited. She finally had the opportunity to showcase her abilities and prove her worth. In the future, they might face even more risks, but becoming familiar with the battlefield early would help her support Zhang Yi more. Zhang Yi's voice became deep and serious. "Moreover, I have a few things I want to remind you." Zhou Kai Ni widened her eyes, quickly straightened up, and listened to Zhang Yi's words. The others were also curious, not knowing what Zhang Yi had planned. Zhang Yi looked around to ensure no one was close by, then pulled her to sit in the car. After shutting the car door, he said to Zhao Kai Ni, "That person, Yuan Kong Yi, is not an ordinary person either. She has the ability to help others awaken their superpowers. However, I don't fully trust her abilities. First, you must remember that if she offers to help you awaken your superpower, you must definitely refuse. Do you understand?" Zhou Kai Ni lowered her eyes, thought for 2 seconds, then slowly nodded. Zhang Yi knew that Zhou Kai Ni was a bit disappointed. She also hoped she could become someone with superpowers, so she could help Zhang Yi more, unlike in the past when she could only stay home silently praying for Zhang Yi's safe return. But when Zhang Yi said such a thing, she always listened and obeyed his words. Zhang Yi gently stroked her face, looking deep into Zhou Kai Ni's eyes and carefully reminding her, "There is no free lunch in this world. Every gift from fate has its price in the darkness, so never desire small benefits, as you'll have to pay a big price." Zhou Kai Ni smiled sweetly. "I know. Look at you worrying about me like this. Is it really necessary?" Zhang Yi smiled. "It's not that I'm not at ease about you, but I care too much about you." Zhang Yi and Zhou Kai Ni had known each other since very early in the apocalypse. They had been through nearly half a year together. Initially, Zhang Yi saw Zhou Kai Ni as a tool to help him heal when he was sick and to bring warmth in lonely, cold moments. But over time, it cannot be said that there were no feelings. Therefore, Zhang Yi did not want Zhou Kai Ni to be in danger. If and only if Yuan Kong Yi had the ability to control others' minds and make Zhou Kai Ni harm herself, what would Zhang Yi do? He had the answer for himself, but he did not want that to happen. Therefore, he needed to take precautions against all possibilities. The others saw the intimate scene between Zhang Yi and Zhou Kai Ni and began to tease them. Uncle Wang laughed heartily, while Chun-Li couldn't bear to look, like a heartbroken single person unable to endure the sight. He wanted to take his eyes away from it. Even Liang Yu, who always maintained a nonchalant expression, couldn't help but turn away, showing an unusual reaction. Zhang Yi said to Zhou Kai Ni, "Besides, there's something I need you to do. Please help me monitor someone, Yuan Kong Yi." Zhou Kai Ni asked in surprise, "Do you think there's something wrong with her?" Zhang Yi thought for a moment and replied, "Her existence is already a major issue. Anyway, please observe all of her actions quietly and report back to me. Yuan Kong Yi's abilities are extraordinarily impressive. As long as she could attract enough followers, she would create a large-scale mutant person force. Someone like her is definitely someone everyone would be wary of." This task was not a big deal for Zhou Kai Ni. "All right, I'll do it." They were talking when there was a knock on the outside of the car. Zhang Yi turned to look and found it was Xing Tian, his old classmate. "What's going on?" Xing Tian slowly said, "Everyone is busy setting up the defense line. We don't know when the zombies will come, so you all should get used to the situation quickly." Zhang Yi laughed and said, "You really care, don't you?" "Not quite." Xing Tian looked into the distance where his team was responsible for the defense line and said, "I've prepared everything. We cannot lose this battle." As he said this, he suddenly showed an angry expression. "Damn, I hope that Bai and Junwoo doesn't play tricks on us." Zhang Yi sighed and gently patted his shoulder. Let's try to do our best now. Other than trusting them, it seems we have no other choice. He and the others got out of the car, starting to familiarize themselves with the surroundings of the Snow Sect. As a special forces team, they needed to be ready to support any weaknesses at any time. Therefore, it was essential to understand each area clearly. Next, they would leverage their abilities depending on the battlefield situation. Zhang Yi first identified the best defensive position, which was the abandoned commercial building next to the church. Rising over 100 meters and located right in the center of worship of the Snow Sect, from there he could observe from above and use his superpower to protect an area with a radius of nearly 4 kilometers, dealing with zombies. He also requested Liu Keiran to create new ammunition for him. Although the penetrating power of this ammunition is not high when it hits a zombie, it will explode, completely destroying them. After all, the defense of ordinary zombies is not high, just like frozen pork. Using a large caliber sniper rifle combined with explosive ammunition, he could easily deal with them alone. And to deal with armored zombies, he had also equipped a type of large caliber bullet specifically designed to penetrate armor. On the other hand, for the high position, Zhang Yi could also easily command Liang Yu into his fighting group. This battle, if they could win, would be great. But if they couldn't win, they also needed to quickly grasp the battlefield situation to withdraw in time. Therefore, Zhang Yi headed towards the abandoned high-rise building, planning to reach the top floor to set up. However, several mutant members of the worship of the Snow Sect were extremely vigilant in preventing Zhang Yi from entering the high-rise building. This is the forbidden area of the worship of the Snow Sect. Please leave. Zhang Yi smiled, finding the term somewhat amusing, forbidden area. Have you all been reading too many martial arts novels? The worship of the Snow Sect has only been established for a few months, and this commercial building was previously unrelated to them. How does it now become a forbidden place? The mutant person spoke with a cold expression. We cannot explain things to you. Mr. Zhang, please do not make things difficult for us. Zhang Yi and his team immediately sensed something unusual within the high-rise building. The attitude of these mutant persons was very resolute. They would not allow Zhang Yi and his team to approach the building. However, the more they were obstructed, the more curious Zhang Yi became. But at the moment, he did not want to cause a conflict due to his curiosity, so he simply smiled and said, "Oh, I won't make things difficult for everyone anymore. We will move on to another place." This area was a shopping district with many other high-rise buildings, so choosing another building was not a big issue. However, this only piqued Zhang Yi's curiosity even more. He always enjoyed exploring others' information as it could potentially be their weakness. Zhang Yi chose a neighboring high-rise building. He slowly climbed to the rooftop, surpassing more than 30 floors, which left him panting. If he hadn't been training regularly, he might have been exhausted and lying on the ground by now. Like Chun-Li, he could only climb halfway before giving up. Uncle Wang said, "Why don't you use the space gate to move through space? Why climb step by step? It's such a hassle." Zhang Yi squinted and smiled. "When no one is paying attention, I will use the space portal to move. But this kind of ability shouldn't be exposed too easily." Uncle Liang sighed. "You are truly cautious." Although the major forces are cooperating, Zhang Yi remains vigilant. He carefully observes from the highest floor of the building, and indeed, his choice was not wrong. From this vantage point, he can cover a 4-kilometer radius, creating a significant advantage for sniping. Within this range, Zhang Yi can eliminate any blind spots and shoot at any position. At the very least, he can cover all 4 defensive lines in the outer area. "All right, I will stay here to defend. You all stay in this building and wait. If we don't need to participate in the frontline combat, we can adapt flexibly." After confirming their hiding position, Zhang Yi and his team continued to move from the rooftop, then returned to the car driving on snow to rest. They wanted to maintain good stamina in a comfortable environment to ensure they are in their best condition. Compared to others, their food is also very plentiful. This is the advantage of having a mutant person with space manipulation in the team. Although other major forces also brought food, it mainly consisted of military rations or canned goods. They melted snow for water, then used an aluminum stove to heat the food. As for the more than 5,000 followers of the Snow Sect, their food situation is even worse. Many people had to eat rat meat and save every meal. Li Jian, after meeting Zhang Yi, quickly left. On his way home, he felt somewhat distracted, uncertain whether to reveal what he knew to Zhang Yi. Later, he wanted to ask Zhang Yi to guide his family away. However, after careful consideration, he dismissed this thought, because Zhang Yi was not someone with a friendly personality who would help others. There was no reason for him to help them unconditionally and without cause. In this world, only oneself can bring fairness, and no one else is deserving of such trust. Li Jian returned home and found that Lai Kyle, although his wound had healed, was in a very low spirit. He had lost the necessary confidence of a man, and the once bright and cheerful young man had now become gloomy. This caused great worry for Lai Jian and his wife, Zhang Jianfang. When Lai Jian arrived home, he met Zhang Jianfang with a worried expression. The room was permeated with the smell of urine. Li Jian approached and asked quietly, "Did he use the toilet in the tent?" Zhang Jianfang pulled her husband aside and spoke softly. Since that incident, going to the bathroom has become difficult. Li Jian sighed. In this situation, just being alive is already a good thing. I don't expect him to continue the family line. I hope he will get through this soon. Zhang Jianfang grimaced and said, saying it is easier than doing it. Li Jian told his son, "Son, we are going to have to fight right here. Moreover, the fight won't be small. It's no longer safe here. Zombies could come at any moment. Please come with us." In the tent, Lai Kyle showed no reaction. Especially when he heard they wanted to go to the church, he suddenly shouted like a wounded beast. "I'm not going. You all go. Just all of you go." Li Jing'an and Zhang Jianfang both felt very awkward, but couldn't do anything. Lai Kyle kept thinking about Shubo Boy. Where is Shubo Boy? Does she dislike me? It can't be. After saying this, he yelled loudly. Li Jing'an stood in front of the tent, deep in thought. The worship the Snow Sect had turned his son into what he was now. No matter how much more he did, it wouldn't mean anything. Should he try to contact Zhang Yi's group? On the first day, no zombies appeared near the worship the Snow Sect area. Their group left a part of the team to guard, taking turns on night duty in case of a zombie attack. The others began to rest, and so time passed until midnight. Zhang Yi, resting in the vehicle, suddenly opened his eyes. He sat up. The snoring from Uncle Wang and Chun Lei next to him grew louder and louder. Zhang Yi pulled up the car window and carefully looked outside. Although it was already midnight, there were still people patrolling the military area, but most of them were resting, especially the tall building that outsiders were not allowed to approach, which was heavily guarded. After the major powers gathered, the worship the Snow Sect also reinforced security in that area, making Zhang Yi even more certain that something unusual was happening. Zhang Yi parked his car right in front of the building he had chosen. After assessing the distance, Zhang Yi opened a space portal and drove straight into the large building. Zhang Yi activated his tactical optical glasses to observe the tall building across. Inside, it was nothing but darkness. Every window was blocked by something, making it impossible to see inside. The feeling it gave off was like a cement coffin. Zhang Yi grew curious. What was it hiding inside? Knowing that there was a big secret nearby and having the ability to see through obstacles, he couldn't help but want to uncover the truth. After thinking for a while, Zhang Yi decided to use the space portal to penetrate the tall building. He concluded that although there were guards inside, they couldn't be on the upper floors. Even if he saw some mutated individuals and others coming and going, they only stayed for a short time before pushing some carts outside. Zhang Yi guessed that this place might be their storage facility. If he discovered something good, why not take a look? A wicked smile appeared at the corner of Zhang Yi's mouth. The distance between the two buildings is not more than 300 meters, so Zhang Yi decided to go through directly. In just a moment, he passed through another door and appeared in an abandoned room of the high-rise building. The darkness did not affect him thanks to the tactical optical glasses, which had excellent night vision capability. Zhang Yi looked around and was immediately surprised. The room before him was overrun by vines and branches, to the extent that the ground beneath his feet was also covered with strands of vines. Zhang Yi thought to himself, "This is the secret of the forbidden area of the worship the Snow Sect. But what is the purpose of this vegetation? What is the goal of this type of plant? Is it used for food supply or does it serve another function?" Zhang Yi pondered. This was the first time he had seen such gigantic and strange vegetation. But when he thought about how dogs and cats could also grow large, not to mention plants that could grow infinitely, it was no longer that surprising. Zhang Yi was fully prepared to escape at any moment. With his spatial gateway skill, nothing could currently prevent him from fleeing. Although it was not clear what the object before him was, he had already come this far and was determined to explore it for answers. He felt that this was a very significant secret for him, and this was indeed a great opportunity to grasp the secrets of the worship the Snow Sect. In Zhang Yi's right hand appeared the dragon sword. He had activated his superpower, increasing his speed and reaction capacity by 8 times. Zhang Yi stepped forward, the entrance to the office blocked by vines. He thought carefully. This mysterious plant was obviously related to superpowers, so it was better not to touch it with his hands. After a moment of contemplation, he decided to use a blade to chop the roots of the plant, then enter through the opening. But as he stepped outside, he was startled and screamed. Could this be a world of plants? Because the center of the high-rise building had turned into a gigantic hole. Beneath his feet, the corridor was more than half destroyed, leaving only about 1 meter wide enough to step on. However, after just a moment, Zhang Yi no longer paid attention to the ground beneath him as he saw an enormous green plant that was very unusual growing from the deepest part of the high-rise building, pushing straight up to the highest floor. Zhang Yi thought of a type of giant plant he had once known. Clearly, the plant before him was not that type. Although the world had witnessed even larger trees, Zhang Yi knew that this giant plant was definitely a mutation, and in just a few months had grown to this size. He secretly thought this was the right journey. Zhang Yi hesitated slightly. There was no doubt that this discovery of the Snow Sect was a huge secret. Should he continue to investigate or not? He couldn't help but swallow. He wasn't sure if this mutated plant was aggressive, so he carefully made no sound. If he were discovered, it might force the Snow Sect to confront him. But would the Snow Sect dare to risk their lives against him at this crucial moment? Then he observed the surroundings meticulously and decided not to miss this opportunity. He approached and picked two bright red fruits from a branch. As he picked, he carefully observed the reactions of the giant plant. Noticing nothing unusual, Zhang Yi felt somewhat reassured. After that, he cut some branches and picked some leaves to put into the superpower space for further research. Seeing that nothing unusual happened, Zhang Yi looked up at the wall, where there were many spherical cocoons hanging down. Zhang Yi truly felt a bit scared. Inside, there couldn't be some huge insects, right? Humans often have an instinctive aversion to insects. If it were indeed insects crawling out from inside, their bodies covered in green slime, he might lose all appetite. Gritting his teeth, Zhang Yi decided he should still check it out. He walked over while muttering, "Can't be undone, can't be stopped." He walked down the dilapidated hallway to a cocoon cluster, made a clean cut on a hanging branch, and smoothly pulled it into his superpower space. After completing this step, Zhang Yi didn't hesitate and decided to leave the abandoned building through the space gate. As he left, he thought to himself, luckily, everything went smoothly. He didn't rush to examine the object he had just obtained. After all, he wasn't an expert, so Zhang Yi returned to the car and pretended to rest, but couldn't close his eyes all night. Time passed, and Zhang Yi carefully observed all the movements of the worship the Snow Sect. He wanted to see if his actions had been detected. However, everything in worship the Snow Sect was proceeding normally, nothing unusual. Zhang Yi felt somewhat relieved. B and Jun Woo called their group to gather at the back of the chapel to discuss the matter. The sudden halt of the zombie group meant they had either retreated or had become aware of our movements and were quietly planning something. Zhang Yi also spoke up, "Now we cannot ignore the possibility that the intelligence of the Zombie King may be higher than we think." Teo Hong Lion frowned, showing her dissatisfaction. The intelligence of these monsters seems to be incredibly high. If someone were pulling the strings behind the scenes, I would still believe it. If they go show up, are we supposed to just stand here forever? B and Jun Woo crossed his arms and calmly asked, "Did you receive any news from other bases?" Everyone shook their heads. Zhang Yi suddenly came up with an idea and looked at B and Jun Woo. Aren't the other bases unusually silent? Even though we've switched to covert operations, there is still ground surveillance. However, we haven't detected any activity from the zombie group. Could it be that this situation is because you killed a zombie king? The existence of a zombie king is quite special. It is like the heart of the zombie group. When a zombie king dies, the surrounding zombie group loses its order. Now it can be concluded that in Tianhai City, there are multiple intelligent zombie kings, not just one. Perhaps there is a special connection between them. Killing one zombie king might have made the other zombie kings more alert. B and Jun Woo showed no expression on his face. He just calmly said to everyone, "This is just the beginning. The zombie group might still be observing us, but what we need to do is patiently wait. It's like fishing, seeing who is more patient between the fisherman and the fish."